Welcome to episode 1 of Healthy and Whole podcast with Healed People, Heal People. Today is Sunday, March 3rd, 2024. It's 1:06 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I'm not really good at podcast, but I do feel that I'm being prompted by the Holy Spirit to record this podcast today. So here goes. Obviously, it's not edited, but it will be. But I'm just sharing some thoughts on hair. I just finished making 2 test batches of like a spray for the hair to grow. They're half-gallon test batches. One is based in oil and one is based in water, distilled water and alkaline water mixed together. There's probably a total of about 12 different herbs that I ground together and put approximately 9 ounces of the herbs in each half-gallon jar. So I've had a lot of thoughts over years regarding hair. It is my belief and my position that everything is spiritual first and the natural follows. I am melanated. I am brown. It really bothers me that I would say, I don't have any research I've done, but I would easily say, just based on the city I live in, social media, that over 50% of women who are brown throughout the world are having hair loss. Let me define what I mean by hair loss. That means they are missing hair on the perimeter of their hair. They're missing hair in the front. Their hair is very thin with huge square inch regions on the scalp where there's no growth. It's thin. Obviously, many women and now even men use hair products. Hair products meaning you add a store-bought product, usually manufactured outside of the U.S., into your hair. A couple of things always come up. Many people are familiar with the movie that comedian Chris Rock did, and it always makes you wonder, right, why would a comedian do a hair movie? But anyway, there's one particular scene in that movie, documentary, whatever it's called, that he shows through his visit, I believe it was to India, where the women grow their hair. They cut it off. It's dedicated to their gods. It's given at a temple in a ceremony. And this is like clockwork. You know how we go to the grocery store and we get our milk or whatever it is you buy for the week? The dedication of the hair and the ceremony, it's like just constant traffic of women doing this, So the other thing I did, I think in 2023, is that I went and looked at the manufacturing process of synthetic hair. It doesn't matter if it's synthetic or real. Even if it's real, there has to be a processing of it, right? It's not going to come out of the other person's hair straight to your hair. So there's processing, and that process uses chemicals. Okay, with me being an herbalist, right? Common sense says that God did not design the body for chemicals, period. Period. No discussion on that. So you cannot expect for a beautiful, healthy head of hair, however short or long you want it, to thrive in an environment of chemicals. So that's another whole discussion. But let's just look at the spiritual point of it. You are not of that faith where the people dedicating the hair to their gods, you are not a part of that faith. However, when you choose to make a commerce transaction, right? Not only do you get the product, but you get everything that comes with the product. Most people probably don't do any type of cleansing prayer over anything they buy, including hair. Now let's go back to synthetic hair. When I was looking at the manufacturing process of the hair, okay, basically you have, I don't have my notes in front of me. Basically you have oils, petroleums. I mean, all the beautiful hairstyles we see with women, you're basically gluing in oils and petroleums, different gases in your hair, in our hair. Let me make this disclosure. I have worn hair, fake hair, synthetic hair, what they call human hair. I do feel comfortable in saying if I sat down, I could probably literally count the number of times in my life I have worn hair. So here's another thing just to think about. And I'm not doing this as condemnation, but I am doing it for a couple of reasons. Why am I making this podcast? I'm making this podcast because, number one, hair is beautiful, right? It frames our face. It tells a lot about our personality. And hair is even spiritual, right? And it doesn't matter what it is, your home, your body, your hair, your car. If you don't care for it properly, it will not thrive. And because most of us have eyes where we have eyesight, what we see affects us, right? And then in the space of relating with people, and let's just say in this context, relationships with the opposite sex, in terms of beauty and attractiveness, or even just being attractive to our own self. Your hair is a big deal, right? Your skin is a big deal. It's a big deal. And a lot of people don't feel good about this. The other thing I think about is the word covering, right? Covering is a huge word, right? We when we get up every day, we put on clothes because we cover our body. We don't generally walk outside without clothes. If it rains, we put on a raincoat. I still have my raincoat from middle school, and I still have my raincoat from high school. Literally, I do. We use an umbrella to cover our heads. Many women in different cultures cover their head, which I love. I love hats. My goal has been to have some type of hair covering for myself to wear 7 days a week. I so love hats and scarves and little beanies and I love hats. I hadn't made it there yet, but anyway, love hats. When we think about the husband, he is the covering for his wife. When we think about in businesses, right? Businesses, there's a covering, right? Even for businesses, there's employment agreements. There are things that you sign off on. You're being covered. You're being covered under their insurance. Covering is a big deal. And so the questions, I think, as I'm looking at whatever, TV, I don't really look at TV. As I look at social media, as I interact with people around the world, I'm thinking about, let's say for women who are brown, why are we covering our hair with plastic, chemicals, synthetics? Why are we covering our own hair with chemicals? And let me tell you, okay, let me finish the thought. Why are we... What is wrong with the beauty of our hair as it grows out of our scalp as designed by God? I think it was in January 2007 that I went to the barber and I had him shave all of my hair off, literally. And he said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "This is really drastic." At that time, I had what we call perm, right, to straighten the hair. And I said, I'm done. Cut it off. And he said, man, why don't we just kind of cut it shorter? And I said, cut it off. I mean, we went back and forth. He said, well, I don't want you to be upset. And I said, sir, either you will shave my hair off, or I will take your clippers or go buy clippers and I will take my hair off. I'm done with putting chemicals in my hair. And he took my hair off. I remember I was out of town, and I remember telling my mom, she was on the phone when I left. I remember telling her, hey, I'll be back. I'm going to get my hair cut off. And she said, okay. And when I came back to her house with no hair and walked through the door, I remember her reaction. She was on the phone still. And she looked at me like, what did you do? And I literally remember family members saying to me, oh, you're not going to get a man like that. Oh, you don't look feminine. You're not going to, all of those things. I found, honestly, that I attracted more men. Obviously, my hair grew back. But here's the question we have to answer. What is wrong with the beauty of our hair that grows out of our scalp as God designed? They're all different types of hair are beautiful, right? But one of the beauties I like about our hair is that it literally grows up towards the sun, unless we do something to it to force it to go down. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this word right, but I remember listening to an interview that the late Dr. Frances Cress Welsing did, and she had a word for what the texture of our hair is called. I think she either said heloid, or it was some word like that. And I was like, I've never heard that word before. And I kept rewinding that interview in hopes to try to phonetically spell that word. And that I looked at that years ago. But I'm bothered as to why we consider it beauty and of convenience to put hair dedicated to other gods, lowercase g, full of chemicals, and cover our hair for the majority of every year. I am not in agreement with it's a protective hairstyle. Protected from what? From heat, from perms. Protected from what? Why does our hair need protecting? Our hair, like the rest of our body, needs nutrients. The whole entire human body works off of nutrition, nothing else. Nutrition and sin. When we clear the sin, our body responds immediately for any part of our body, from the top of our heads to the bottom of our feet. All right, so let's go back. We all know the relationships that most brown people have with most Asian people as it relates to purchasing products in a hair store. So when we talk about the business side of this, and this is something you already know, right? When we talk about the business side of this, it's very intentional from a manufacturing standpoint, from an economies of scale standpoint, right? Because one of the inputs the Asian culture has is people. People is a commodity for them. They have people in an abundance. And then when we look at their economy, right? So they have something that the world needs. And so, business is about transactions. Business is about, I give you money and you give me either a product or service back. So it has been very intentional of Asians to manufacture products for brown people. It has been intentional, okay? And we always got to think about what gods do people worship who make anything, right? This is including our clothing. That's another conversation. But this thing with the fake hair, synthetic hair, hair processed from petroleums and chemicals, and it has been so intentional that obviously anybody who puts chemicals in their hair ongoing, you're going to have hair loss, right? And or hair thinning, or your hair is not going to be dense. It's not going to be dense and full and beautiful, however style you choose to style it in. They've even thought about this, right, to the point that we know they're going to lose their hair. We know they're going to lose the perimeters of their hair. So, that's a problem when you don't have the perimeter of your hair. It's a problem when the middle of your hair is missing. It's embarrassing. It doesn't build love for you, for us, for ourself individually. When we individually look in the mirror, so they know, okay, we're going to manufacture this product, we're going to market it to them, they're going to buy it, they're going to use it. Because of the gift that God gives brown people, our level of creativity is unparalleled, that we can take synthetic chemical hair, even chemically treated, what they call human hair, which most of it obviously isn't human. We're going to take this, and we know it's going to destroy the natural hair shaft. We know that even the sprays, oils, pressings, combs, things they use to get the hair in its final state, when it touches the hair, right, the whole human body is porous, including the scalp. Some of these chemicals have to ooze into their scalp. It's just common sense, right? So since they knew this, they've now even made a secondary market of buy another product from us of how to keep your hair, how to grow your edges back. When I tell you the level of, I don't even have a word, outrage isn't the right word. It's good business, right? If you're trying to make money and you're using it against a group of people who have a narrow span of planning for the health of their hair, which affects the health of the body. So I'm going to sell you a product that will take your hair out. I'm going to market to you all these different ways you can use your hair. And every single piece of hair we buy, right? Every single piece of hair that's bought, your natural hair can do it. Your natural hair can do it. So that's the ridiculousness of this, right? I don't care how much you have to travel. I don't care what the convenience is. Let me tell you something one of my mentors said to me, and it always remains with me. If you want that, whatever that is, as a life of convenience, then that will be your health. You don't need to come see us at a clinic, at a hospital. You don't need whoever you see, your doctor, your family doctor, your herbalist, your iridologist, your health, whoever it is you go to. You don't need to go to them saying, I need something for my hair. I need something for... You don't, because you've made a decision that I will not, during 7 days of a week, take time to be a good steward of my hair. I want to do something as quick as possible where I don't have to touch my hair, where I don't have to groom my hair, where I don't have to be responsible for the nutrients in my own hair. So if that is your decision, then you should gladly welcome the consequences, right? It's another discussion to talk about stress. Stress is not something that happens. Stress is a sin. It's not something that happens. Stress is a sin. The other thing I was thinking about today, March 3rd, 2024, is I was making these 2 test batches of sprays for the hair is what sins occur with the hair, right? So I was thinking about, right? Marriage is a man and a woman. And obviously husbands and wives have intimacy. And so usually in that process, there may be the touching of hair. So I just thought to myself as I was making this, well, for people who aren't married that engage in whatever type sex it is they engage in, it's a sin. Is there a repercussion to the physical hair doing whatever these sex acts are? Is part of the hair loss, part of the hair not being in the state or the beauty that we want it in, affiliated with uncleared sin as it relates to sexual activity, even if the sexual activity is having sex with yourself, which is a sin. So these are just rambling thoughts. They've kind of been in my head for a while. I have decided that I am going to write a prayer. I'm really not making these 2 batches to sell, but I have decided that I'm going to write a prayer, right? Because it is a known fact that people, of all the things in the world that are manufactured, it doesn't matter what it is, cars, clothes, rugs, furniture, lights, it doesn't matter. Whoever the founder is of anything sets the tone of the culture of the company. Whatever you believe as a founder, whether you verbalize it or not, what you believe affects the atmosphere of what you're manufacturing, right? But it is a known fact that honestly isn't all that hidden, that, for people who may believe in things that are related to God, God being God with a capital G, Jesus, Yeshua, Holy Spirit, that God, whether you believe in God or other gods, lowercase g, whatever it is you believe in, it is a known fact that in the manufacturing process, there are people who speak blessings or curses. For the sake of this discussion, we'll say curses. They speak things for what they want to happen to the people, to the homes that their products go in, which is why it's so important that whatever we buy, to do a cleansing prayer. I don't care if you buy it from a thrift store. I don't care if you buy it from, Tiffany and Company, whatever expensive or non-expensive. You don't know what people have prayed or given instructions to. I didn't share this information to hurt feelings, to be offensive to anybody. They're just thoughts I've had in my head for a really long time. I spent some time in November of 2023. I didn't plan this, but I spent some time literally just brushing the hair of women. I had a hair product that my niece and nephew helped me make. It was just a test batch of hair butter. And I rubbed it in the hair of women. I brushed the hair of women. I massaged the hair of women. And I was a little, honestly, surprised at the response. Obviously it was relaxing, it was soothing, but for some of the women, my heart kind of was sad when I saw the amount of hair loss. But I prayed as I brushed their hair. And so I'm just kind of concerned about both men and women and hair loss. And so I don't want anybody to be offended. but just wanted to share these thoughts.